It is terrifyingly easy to destroy a life or business while thinking you're saving it. In chapter 13, we broke down the structural integrity of your environment. Today in Proverbs 14, we confront the raw architecture of your daily lives, the daily choices you make. Every single day, you sit at your desk, you're doing of two things. You're either building your house or you're quietly tearing it down with your own hands. There's no neutral ground. Last week, we talked about discipline and labor, the slow, unglamorous inputs that build real outputs, real wealth. This week, Proverbs 14 walks us through an image that ties the entire chapter 12 to 14 arc together. It's a simple verse. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. What does this mean for you? It simply means that every decision you make as a woman of God, as a leader, as a student, is either laying a brick or pulling one up. There's no in between. There's no gray area. There's no neutral move. Let's read this chapter together, then talk about what you're building or quietly dismantling. Proverbs 14 from the King James Version. Every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down with her hands. He that walketh in his uprightness feareth the Lord, but he that is perverse in his ways despiseth him. In the mouth of the foolish is the rod of pride, but the lips of the wise shall preserve them. When no oxen are, the crib is clean, but much increases by the strength of the ox. A faithful witness will not lie, but a false witness will utter lies. A scorner seeketh wisdom and findeth it not, but knowledge is easy unto him that understandeth. Verse 7 says, Go from the presence of a foolish man, when thou perceiveth not in him the lips of knowledge. The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Fools make a mock at sin, but among the righteous there is favor. The heart knoweth his own bitterness, and a stranger does not intermeddle with his joy. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. There is a way which seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. Even in laughter the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. The backslider in heart shall be filled with his own ways, and a good man shall be satisfied from himself. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. A wise man feareth and departeth from evil, but the fool rageth and is confident. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated. The simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. The evil bow before God, and the wicked at the gates of righteousness. The poor is hated even in his own neighborhood, but the rich has many friends. He that despiseth his neighbor sinneth, but he that has mercy on the poor, happy is he. Do not err that devise evil, but mercy and truth shall be to them that devise good. In all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips tendeth only to purity. The crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of fools is folly. A true witness delivereth souls, but a decent witness speaketh lies. In the fear of the Lord is strong confidence, and his children shall have a place of refuge. 27 says, the fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. In the multitude of people is the king's honor, but in the want of people is the destruction of the prince. He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but he that hastily of spirit exalt folly. A sound heart is the life of the flesh, but envy the rottenness of bones. He that oppresses the poor reproaches his maker, but he that honoreth him hath mercy on the poor. The wicked is driven away in his wickedness, but the righteous hath hope in his death. Wisdom resteth in the heart of him that hath understanding, but that which is in the midst of fools is made known. Righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. The king's favor is toward a wise servant, but his wrath is against him that causes shame. Let's break down these verses. Let's examine the architect of the house you're building. Starting with verse, let's take a look at the early verses. Proverbs 1, this is grounded in every decision you make being structural. So Proverbs 14:1 says, the wisest of women builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down. I also want you to pay attention to verse 4, which says, where there are no oxen, the manger is clean, the house is clean, but abundant crops come by the strength of the ox, right? We need the work of the ox. And so what this is framing is that basically everything, verse 1 is the frame for the entire context of this chapter 14 of Proverbs. And so being the frame, it amplifies for us that building and demolishing are two different same activities, yet they aren't different. I know that sounds condescending. So building and demolishing are not two different activities, although they accomplish two separate things. They're the same activity, which simply means that decision by decision pointed in opposite directions. So there's no such thing as a decision that doesn't touch your structure. And verse 11 shifts us into that in a plain way. It says, the house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish. And if we shift down to 34, it scales it all the way up for us. It says, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. And you have to look at what a true nation is. What is your culture, your company, your environment? Who are you with? Where do you spend your time? Because these are the things that build or erode your integrity, your decision, your time. These are the things that guide where you end up ultimately, right? We have to examine who we are in comparisons to what these words are saying to us. When it talks about the manger and it being clean when there are no oxen, a clean manger means there's no mess, there's no complications, there are no operational headaches. But it also means there's zero output, there's zero revenue, there's zero results. Growth is going to be messy. Locking in and committed to the professional development you say is going to be challenging. Hiring a team, scaling operations, staying in a struggling relationship, expanding your reach, all of that requires you to have the ox in your business. And oxen make a mess. Foolishness looks at a mess and tries to eliminate it by abandoning the system or micromanaging you to the point of death. The folly is going to tear down the house out of frustration. But what wisdom says is wisdom understands that the woman of God isn't about avoiding a mess, that you are about building structural boundaries to manage what God has placed before you. If you're skipping out on your responsibilities, you need to audit them right now. If you're being busy and not productive, you need to assess what's driving you. Are you letting metrics slide because facing them is uncomfortable? Are you not having the uncomfortable conversations in the kitchen because you don't want to be driven by emotion? or you can't release things of the past that you're holding on to? Are you using your own hands to dismantle the house you've worked so hard to build? You have to stop managing for a clean manger and instead start building a stronger structure, one that can handle operational growth. Look at your current choices. Are you laying a brick today or are you pulling a brick out? Remove the fluff of it all. Push yourself to a high level challenge. Ask, what more can I give today? Do you believe your resume needs revamped? Are you prepared to present yourself at the highest level for the interview? Are you following up with the emails and phone calls? Or again, are you pulling bricks out? Verse 16, 17, and 19 talked about temperament. This applies to leadership, it applies to women walking through life. This is one of the sharpest verses in the entire book. It says, "He that is slow to wrath is of great understanding, but she that is hasty of spirit exalt folly." And then 17 adds the consequence of it. "He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly." A woman with a short fuse isn't just having a bad day when they're blowing up on people. What happens is you're actively pulling a structural brick out from under the people who trust you. When the rage is there, when you allow fear to drive you, confidence without caution is how you demolish something you've spent years constructing. Lastly, I'm going to leave you with this. Verse 23 is quiet, but it's a verse that people often skip over. It says, "In all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lies tendeth only to purity." Talking about an audit isn't an audit. Verse 8, "The wisdom of the prudent is to understand his ways." This means you're reviewing what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You know your numbers. You have the evidence to support the work you do. You know where your business actually stands. You know where your grades actually stand. You know where your relationship actually stands. You don't just assume it. Verse 6 is a warning to anyone who's too proud to ask for outside eyes to take a look. If you've built a culture, if you're surrounded by people, if you only keep people close to you where nobody can bring you any bad news or constructive news, you have made yourself unauditable. And an unaudited structure will fail quietly. And guess what? It starts from the inside. Long before anyone can see the crack in the street, it starts in the foundation. That's my word for you from Proverbs 14. I would leave you with this um, next action step. Rest in verse 30, where it speaks to the internal cost of getting this wrong. It says, "A sound heart is the life of the flesh, but envy the rottenness of the bones." Envy simply means comparing your unfinished house to someone else's finished house that has been commonality the last few days. That has been a common theme. What happens is it rots you from the inside out, which we previously mentioned. While you're supposed to be building internally, you're rotting. And 31 goes on to extend the house metaphor to how you treat people. It goes on to say that he that oppresses the poor reproach his maker, but he that honoreth him hath mercy on the poor. How you treat people with the least of leverage, the least of these, the new hire, the new person on the team, the new person in the organization, the new neighbor on the block, the new student in the classroom, the smallest vendor, the customer who can't push back, all of that is a direct report on the integrity of your structure, whether anyone's auditing it or not. God sees. So I would encourage you to walk through the last 14 days, the last 2 weeks that you've been on this journey. Have you been keeping boundaries? Have you been keeping your word? Have you been consistent? And if you haven't, you need to adjust accordingly starting today. If chapters 13 and 14 have been useful to you this week, this is what I ask always. Before the video ends, subscribe. We want to make sure we are inviting more women into this space. This is not about any one of us individually. This is about us growing together, supporting one another, getting the wisdom God is laying out so gracefully to us. It's not about vanity numbers. It's not about the difference between channels. This is about a solid foundation. If 14 read something to you, comment below with one brick that you pulled out this month and one that you plan on putting back. I take my time to review the comments. Some of them get featured when we do the Q&A midweek. But this is about you. What is the architectural design of the house you're building? Are the bricks stable? Will it withstand the test of time? That's my word for today. As always, I love you and I'm praying for you to win at both life and business with God by faith. Have an amazing day.